Hey Army, welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this video right now, that means you're one of the most up-to-date people in the entire K-pop and BTS universe. And today, oh boy, we have news that is going to make your heart race, your ears ring, and your eyes water. May 25th, 2026. Mark it on your calendar, pin it on your wall, write it on your hand, because that night is not just any ordinary night. That is the night when Park Jimin, the man who has proven himself to be absolutely unstoppable, the artist whose name has never left the top of the charts, the figure that millions of fans around the world have been waiting for, will stand on the stage of MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas, in front of the entire world, at the most prestigious music event in America, the American Music Awards 2026. So sit back, grab your drink, because today we are going to cover everything, from the event details, the history that's about to be made, to why this night could be the single most iconic moment in Jimin's career and BTS as a whole. Let's start with the big picture first. The 52nd American Music Awards, or what we all know as AMA 2026, is not just your average music award show. This is one of the three biggest music award shows in the United States, alongside the Grammys and the Billboard Music Awards. The difference? The AMAs is the only award show in the world that is entirely determined by fan votes. That's right, not judges, not music critics, but US, the fans, who decide who wins. And this year, the AMAs is doing something it has never done before. For the first time in its long history dating back to 1974, the AMAs is holding its ceremony at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, described as the largest venue in the show's entire history. Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps, the city that always shines, the city literally built for spectacular moments. That is the stage chosen for this historic night. The show will air live on Monday, May 25th, 2026, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, on CBS and Paramount Plus, broadcast globally across multiple platforms. For Army in Indonesia, that means you can watch it in the morning of May 26th. The host for the evening? None other than Queen Latifah. The legendary rapper, actress, and pop culture icon returns to the AMA stage after last hosting the show 31 years ago, back in 1995. Imagine, a legend leading the show that will also become the stage for a legend of our time. And who is the legend of our time we're talking about? Of course, BTS. Before we talk about Jimin specifically, let's step back for a moment and really appreciate how incredible the journey BTS has taken to get here. For nearly 4 years, these 7 extraordinary men underwent mandatory military service in South Korea, an obligation that required them to put their careers on hold at the very peak of their glory. Imagine leaving the world stage, stepping away from the spotlight, trading stage costumes for military uniforms. Not an easy thing, not for artists as globally prominent as them, and not for the fans who had to wait. But BTS completed their military service in June 2025, and after that, they hit the ground running at full speed. Their 5th studio album, Erarang, was released in March 2026 and immediately shook the world. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard Global 200 for 4 consecutive weeks, with all 13 vocal tracks from the album charting on the same chart for 8 full weeks. This is a record that has never been achieved by any artist in Billboard history, the first and only album in history to have every single vocal track charting for 8 consecutive weeks. Their lead single, Swim, reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed at the top of the Billboard Global 200 for 4 weeks. Numbers that proved BTS didn't just come back, they came back harder than ever. And to celebrate this comeback, they launched the BTS World Tour Erarang, their first world tour as a complete unit since 2021 to 2022. The tour has taken them across the globe, from Asia to Latin America, from Europe to, of course, the United States. And it gets even crazier. This summer, BTS has also been confirmed as co-headliners of the FIFA World Cup 2026 halftime show alongside Shakira and Madonna in July. Yes, you read that right. BTS will perform at the World Cup halftime show alongside 2 of the biggest music icons in the world. This is no longer just about K-pop. This is about BTS's position as one of the greatest music icons in the world, period. And before all of that happens, they will step onto the AMA 2026 stage in Las Vegas. Now, let's get into the part that will really make your heart pound: the nominations. BTS is nominated in 3 categories at AMA 2026. First, Artist of the Year. This is the most prestigious trophy of the entire show. And BTS isn't just nominated. They are the only K-pop act in this category, going head-to-head against Western music giants including Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, Harry Styles, Justin Bieber, Kendrick Lamar, Morgan Wallen, and Sabrina Carpenter. 10 of the biggest names in the global music industry, and among them, BTS. This isn't their first time here either. Back in 2021, BTS won Artist of the Year, becoming the first and, to this day, only K-pop act to ever win that award. And this time, they're back to defend that title. Second, Song of the Summer for Swim. The single that has already conquered charts worldwide is now competing for the title of Best Summer Song. Given Swim's track record of hitting #1 on the Hot 100 and Global 200, this is far from just a token nomination. Third, Best Male K-pop Artist. A category that grows more competitive each year as K-pop continues to expand in Western markets. And BTS arrives as the strongest contender. 3 categories, 3 shots at winning, 1 night. Can you imagine if they sweep all 3? And remember, the AMAs is a fan-voted award show. That means the power of ARMY is the ultimate weapon here. And you already know, there is no fandom in the world more dedicated, more organized, and more passionate about showing up than ARMY. Okay, now it's time to talk about the man who is the central focus of today's video. Park Jimin. That name has long been more than just the name of a BTS member. Jimin is a phenomenon in his own right, an artist who has never stopped proving himself, both as part of BTS and as an individual. Let's look at the numbers, because numbers don't lie. Brand reputation, the undisputed king. According to the latest report from the Korea Corporate Reputation Institute released in May 2026, Jimin recorded a brand reputation index of 6,447,417 points, marking his 58th overall first-place finish. No other idol comes close to this number. Jimin also claimed first place in the overall individual idol brand reputation rankings for the 33rd time. Sentiment analysis shows a positive ratio of 92.97%, nearly perfect. The keywords most associated with him? Perfect, enthusiastic, and breakthrough. But here's what's even more astonishing. Jimin is the only idol in history to have maintained the #1 position in the brand reputation rankings for 35 consecutive months, a record that even held during his mandatory military service. This isn't fleeting popularity. This is concrete proof of the deep and genuine influence of an artist who has truly captured the hearts of millions. BTS World Tour Arirang performances. Jimin has wowed audiences around the world throughout this tour. One of the most talked about moments was his performance at Stanford, where he appeared with long blonde hair and an intense black leather look reminiscent of a warrior. The venue was filled with ARMY chanting Jimin's name, and he ran to every corner of the 360-degree stage, waving, making eye contact with fans one by one. At the end of the show, with unmistakable sincerity, he said, "I was truly happy that your voices filled this place today." That is Jimin, not just a performer, but an emotional communicator who knows exactly how to touch the heart of every single person in the room. RIA Gold certification. On top of all this, Jimin recently received RIA Gold certification in the United States for his work, official recognition from the American music industry of his undeniable impact on the American market. Guinness World Records Icon 2026. And it's not just Jimin. All of BTS was just added to the Guinness World Records Icon list for 2026, becoming the first Asian act and the only musical group to receive this honor, alongside names like Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Dolly Parton. In its citation, Guinness described BTS as the group that introduced K-pop to the world. And on top of all of that, Jimin arrives at AMA 2026 not as a newcomer trying to prove himself. He arrives as a champion returning to defend his crown. To truly understand just how massive this AMA 2026 moment is, we need to look at the history of BTS at the AMAs. It all started at AMA 2017, when BTS, for the very first time, performed on American television. They were the first Korean group to ever perform at the AMAs, and the American music world was stunned. Nobody knew exactly who they were or how large of an impact they were about to make. But that night, when they performed DNA in front of millions of American viewers, history changed. From that point on, BTS continued to build their presence in America, winning awards, performing at major shows, and finally at AMA 2021, they reached the absolute pinnacle, winning Artist of the Year, a trophy that had never been won by any K-pop artist before. In total, BTS has now collected 11 AMA wins, a number that makes it clear their presence at this show is not that of a passing guest, but of permanent fixtures in the winner's circle. And now, after being absent for nearly 4 years due to military service, they return to the AMA stage for a special appearance that millions of fans have been anticipating. This isn't just an appearance. This is BTS declaring their return to the top. CBS and Dick Clark Productions themselves announced BTS's presence, calling it a homecoming for pop royalty. But let's zoom out a little further. BTS's presence at AMA 2026 isn't just about one group or one fandom. It's part of a much bigger narrative, the story of how K-pop has permanently changed the global music landscape. Just look at the AMA 2026 K-pop nominations. BTS, Katseye, the HYB and Geffen Records group that scored 3 nominations, and a growing roster of Asian artists. This is not a coincidence. It is proof that K-pop is no longer a guest at the Western Music Party, but a co-host. Karol G will receive the International Artist Award of Excellence, an honor last given to Whitney Houston back in 2009. The fact that this award has been revived in the same year BTS is here is a powerful signal that AMA 2026 is truly becoming a borderless celebration of world music. And at the center of all of it, BTS, with Jimin as one of its most iconic faces, stands at the front line. They are not just representing K-pop. They are representing the entire Asian music movement that has fought for decades to earn a rightful place on the global stage. Okay, now for the most asked question. What exactly is going to happen on the night of AMA 2026? Let's speculate together, grounded firmly in all the facts we've covered. First, the special appearance. The organizers have confirmed that BTS will make a special appearance. The question is, how special exactly? Will it be a live performance? A trophy presentation? Or maybe something even bigger than we can imagine? Given that this is the first time BTS has been at the AMAs in 4 years, and given their track record of delivering performances that are always mind-blowing, fan expectations are at an all-time high. Second, the trophies. With 3 nominations and the proven power of ARMY's voting force, it's entirely realistic to expect BTS to take home at least 1 trophy, or possibly all 3. Artist of the Year is the most anticipated, and if BTS wins it for the second time, they will be forever recorded as the first K-pop act to defend that title. Third, a historic moment. No matter what happens, the night of May 25th, 2026 is already guaranteed to be a historic moment. This is the first time BTS has been at the AMAs since their military comeback. This is the first time the AMAs has been held at MGM Grand Las Vegas, as the largest venue in the show's history. And this is the second consecutive year the AMAs has aired on Memorial Day. All of these elements combine into one night that, it's hard not to call it the most iconic night in AMA history. Now, one section we absolutely cannot skip, a message to you, ARMY. You know that the AMAs is a fan-voted award show, which means the outcome of tonight, in so many ways, is in your hands. Voting for the Social Song of the Year and Tour of the Year categories remains open through the first 30 minutes of the live broadcast. So even as the show is happening, your votes can still count. How to vote? Through voteamas.com and the @AMAs Instagram profile. Spread the word. Bring every ARMY you know, and make sure your voices are heard. But more than winning or losing, tonight is about celebrating the journey. Celebrating 4 years of waiting that have finally come to fruition. Celebrating 7 men who sacrificed so much to come back to the stage for us. Celebrating Jimin, who even during his absence from the international stage, remained Korea's #1 brand ambassador for dozens of consecutive months. You, ARMY, are part of this history. not passive spectators, but active participants in a story that is being written right now. So, that's the complete picture of what is about to happen on May 25th, 2026 at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas. Jimin and BTS are not just going to Las Vegas to attend an award show. They are going to remind the world that 7 young men from South Korea who dreamed big, who were once underestimated by the music industry, who once stepped away from the stage to honor their duty to their country, are still here, still standing, and stronger than ever. Jimin, with all of his achievements, the brand reputation records, the RIA Gold, the world tour that has moved audiences to tears, and now the AMA stage, is living proof that dedication, talent, and sincerity always find their way to the top. The night of May 25th, 2026 is not just about trophies or nominations. It is about a man named Park Jimin, who stands under the Las Vegas spotlight and proves to the world that he and the 6 brothers beside him cannot and will never be stopped. That's it for today's video, Army. If you're as excited as we are about AMA 2026 and the arrival of Jimin and BTS, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with every Army you know. Drop in the comments, who do you think will win Artist of the Year that night? See you in the next video, and see you on that historic night, May 25th, 2026. Orihi, Purple Heart.